in the hood. He says go live and he can't find the fucking clip.
Giggs. G-I-G-G-S. No. Rhodri.
Is there anything that Lionel Messi is better than you at? It's opinions. I respect your opinions. Maybe in your opinion Messi is better than me, but in my mind I'm better than him.
I do it again.
Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Told her if it's all me, everything is on me. Gon' back it up. Matter what? Told you I'ma do me. Why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart. I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month. I don't rap much. I just hit the money and go stack up. Only buy cars and get tatted up. All that other bull, it don't matter much. You only climb me, I put the ladders up. No fault, I done doubled up on the workload. I think I fell in love with the bankroll. Pray up, get money, then we lay low. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up,
Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Ace Podcast Nation, the home of Rhodri Giggs on football. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, as always. And, of course, Ace Podcast Nation doing all sorts of shows and series, 4 or 5 shows a week at the moment, banging them out. Check them out in video form, youtube.com/Ace Podcast Nation, of course. And if you prefer your podcast in audio form, then check out the Sports Social Podcast Network, the UK's first all-dedicated sports podcast network. You can find all our shows and series there under various subjects, including Rhodri Giggs on football. As you know, we're supporting the Super 6 Charity Prediction League this year. We're raising money for Maggie Centre and Mind. We're all taking part. Super 6 update for this week. We had 2 rounds since we last did a show. Andy Campbell topped the rounds with 12 points. But last night, that was Saturday's round, sorry. Last night, our very own Craig Sullivan smashed it out of the park, topped the round on 17 points. Special mention to Donna Perry, regular viewer. She's not been having the best season prediction-wise, but she managed to get in the top 10 last night, which is got to be worthy of a shout-out now. And with only 9 points between us, it looks like mine and Rhodri's battle is going to the final few games of the season. It's getting close. Rhodri was celebrating early last night, and then a couple of late goals, and it didn't look so good. Next round, Saturday, 3 o'clock. Get your predictions in, and on we go.
Late goals helped me out. I knew Chelsea 2-1. Right.
Yeah, see, I think at one point I only had 2 points with about 10 minutes to go, mate. But
spawned it again. Yeah, luck runs out. Luck runs out though,
mate. So it's not luck; it's skill. That's what I said to you. With like 10 minutes to go, it's loads of time left. Beautifully done, quality stuff. But as always, I'm joined by ex-Salford City winger, Mr. Rhodri Giggs. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, mate. You?
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm good, very good, mate. Very good. I'm very happy.
What's the weather been like down there this week?
Cold. Been dry though. Been pretty dry. Well, I know Monday pissed down, like proper hammer down. Why is this snowing up you again?
Sweet.
Well, you were going to come down, were you?
I was going to, but I've got Cheltenham tomorrow.
Nice. Cheltenham went well for me today. As it goes, yeah. Envoy Love, 14-1, isn't it? Nice.
Sweet.
That's what you need, mate. We got so much to talk about, mate. As always, guys, you're watching on all the different platforms. Get your questions in. Have your say on what's going down. There is so much to talk about, but I want to start with international football, I think, this week, because we got the World Cup playoffs right around the corner, days away. So I want to give a little we'll do a little preview, have a look at some of these, little chit chat. Obviously, the Scotland-Ukraine postponed. Date will be announced at a later date. So the other game in the Path A is Wales versus Austria. I do see a lot of Wales fans looking past Austria on social media, which I know social media is not always it's not the best way to judge or give a barometer of what's thinking. But obviously, being two Welshmen ourselves, mate, I mean, I know how I'm feeling, but how are you feeling about that Austria game?
It's a banana skin, isn't it? I think if the crowd behind and Wales play to their level, then yeah. But as we know, football doesn't go like that all the time. So it's going to be a difficult game. Hopefully, we get a goal early and it's not edgy and goes on. Like one of them nervous games. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of them. It's going to go to the wire. So, but yeah, if Wales play well and hopefully everyone's fit and raring to go. But yeah, if everyone's fit and there'll be a big crowd, good atmosphere. So yeah, it's all in our favour. So, but like I say, Austria, not outstanding players, but very good team, very organised, and they have some decent players. So
yeah, they've got a lot of good players, haven't they?
Yeah,
Austria, and they're a good team, and I think for Wales, I'm looking at. I kind of stuck between two things. Like we've got a very young squad, and part of me thinks they're going to go in there and play with no fear, and if we play as well as we are capable of, then I'm quite confident that we'll win. But then also because you've got a young squad, do they freeze in what's going to be their biggest game of their careers? And
well, you say young, but this is what they've been blooded early for. They've had experience now. Some of them had experience at Euros. So this is what blooding the youngsters in for is for these matches. So they've experienced it. They know what it's all about. Played at the Cardiff City Stadium before when it's been bouncing for Wales. They know the atmosphere. Nothing's out of the normal. It's familiar, and they can just go out and express themselves and play. So hopefully they do that. Like I say, with the atmosphere and the crowd behind them. But it's going to be difficult. It won't be easy.
Yeah, and I think I see. Obviously, we've talked about before, like whether Ramsey and Bale are going to be fit. I don't think it's like the end of the world if they're not fit for that first leg, say. I don't think it's like, oh my God, the world's crashing in. Whereas maybe a few years back it was like you felt like.
Was it a two-legged? Is it a two-legged?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I don't know. Or it might not be. No, it might not. I don't think it is actually. Thinking of it, it's one leg. Ignore me. I just think that Wales have a lot of those young players are in really good form at club level. So as long as they can take that into the international stage and they can kind of get themselves focused.
And you need your big players to step up as well, which they have done in the past, i.e. Ramsey, Bale.
To me,
you need your big
I was going to say Aaron Ramsey is the most vital player in the squad. I put him where I've always said he's more vital than Gareth Bale because I think with Gareth Bale, yes, of course, on his day, he's one of the best footballers in the world, or has been. But Daniel James for Wales is always quality. So, like, I know people, United fans and people will say, "Oh, he didn't do very well for United. He got found out a little bit." But for Wales, he always does a job. I mean, GD Parry asks a very interesting question. First of all, I was delighted to see. Obviously, Mark Harris of Cardiff, young lad in the squad, and I was very happy to see Will Vokes back in the squad. I still don't quite understand why he was dropped over some others, but I cannot see how GD Parry says, how is Johnny Williams getting a call up instead of Isaac Davis? And I know that they're different positions, but Johnny Williams is obviously barely kicked a football for the last couple of years. Signed for Cardiff, didn't play. Is now playing in League 2, I think. And is getting in over Isaac Davis, who's bagged a load of goals this year for Cardiff in the Championship. Managers like there's certain players, don't they, at the end of the day? We've seen it with Southgate. We've seen it with Robert Page. We've seen it with Ryan.
Managers and it's a big game. Do you want I've just explained about all them players that have had experience.
Yeah.
You don't want someone to come in and you don't know what, you don't really know how they're going to react. So it's probably a risk, but I'm sure he might even, if they do get through, he might get called up to go to the World Cup. So,
I think if he's expecting Ramsey and Bale to pull out, or at least thinks there's a good chance that one of them will, or both, then someone like Johnny Williams becomes quite vital to that squad because he's so experienced. He's in the latter part of his career. He's been there and done it from a Welsh point of view. He's played Premier League football. I think Johnny Williams, Craig's just said he is playing every week now, but I think he's looking at it as an experience point of view, especially if Bale and Ramsey have to pull out. Having that experience in and around those players is going to be a big thing. Same with people like Joe Allen and all the other experienced players. I'd be interested, as someone in the chat might be able to tell me, why Danny Ward isn't in the squad. Is that just because he's been on the bench for his club side, or is he injured? I really would like to know that, because obviously he was so good in the Euros, and that was a notable absentee for me. But I'm interested in what people think. In that, give us your predictions for the Austria-Wales game first. Ward is injured, right? There you go. Let's have a look at some of these questions. What's going down? I do think if Wales play to the all or nothing one leg, I do think if Wales play to their capabilities, they can win. We've also got a tremendous home record for Cardiff City Stadium.
Yeah, this is the advantage we've got. We've got to take advantage of it at home. Big atmosphere. So, if they perform, and they usually do at home, and there's a good atmosphere. So, yeah, just keep it nice and tight. And then 6-0 Wales. Come on, Rob. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a 6-0. It's not nowhere near that. It's going to be very close. Hopefully, they get an early goals to control the game. I can try and control it, but these games, they go down to the wire, aren't they? Very nervy.
Yeah, it's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go in extra time, penalties, and then it's just down to.
It's possible, but like I say, you've got to take advantage of that atmosphere.
Early goal, I think, works in Wales's favour, doesn't it?
Early goal, get a very good start. It's all very important to get a good start, and then you get a good feel for the game. So, yeah.
Indeed, mate. So another game is in the Path B. You got Poland. Poland versus Sweden or Czech Republic, which will be on the 29th. The finals are on the 29th of March, aren't they? And you've got one path is blocked. One path is postponed for the Path A. So then Path B. If Poland have got a bye, then have they? Because it says Poland are not playing anyone. So you've got Sweden versus.
What's happened with Russia now?
That's it. So Poland were playing Russia, I'm assuming, and Russia have just been booted. So Poland have gone through to the final in Path B, and then you've got Sweden versus Czech Republic. That is that's going to be a close game.
Yeah, that's a difficult one. Yeah, because you'd expect both of them to be in the World Cup. So yeah,
they both got that team spirit, which kind of takes these teams through. And historically, when they do get to the tournaments, they do quite well. They'll get through the group stages. They'll have a couple of good results. It's going to be a tricky one to call. I'm going to go with them. I think you got to go with the home team when it's a close game in these types of things. It is an advantage. So I'd say probably Sweden. I'd probably go with Sweden. But, you wouldn't be surprised if Czech Republic was to go in.
Czech Republic, Czech Republic, Modric still pulling strings. Real Madrid still play. So now that Czech Republic have always had a good team and some decent players. So it'd be but Sweden as well, they've got a decent side. So yeah, it'd be a good game that.
Close. So there we go. Portugal, Turkey. Ronaldo's passed it, and he's so probably Turkey.
Yeah, I can't see past Portugal. We played Turkey in the World Cup, in the Euros, and we beat them, 3-0? Was it 3-0, 4-0?
They were dire in that Euros.
Yeah, they were. It was a poor campaign for them, but, Portugal's littered with stars.
Yeah.
You've seen the kid
you'd expect Portugal.
Seen the kid from Atletico Madrid. He's decent. He plays from João Felix as well. Felix, Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes. It goes on and on. Bernardo Silva. Yeah, they'll walk that game.
Yeah, and then they
3-0 easy.
Winners of that will play. The winners of that will play Italy or North Macedonia. You'd expect Italy to win that, wouldn't you? I think
it's in Italy, Portugal, isn't it?
You'd think so. I mean, Italy, it would be a big
and then
shock,
you'd probably fancy. Well, you don't know. You know, Italy have just won the Euros. They can't qualify for the World Cup, so.
I think I'd go with Italy over Portugal. I think.
I disagree. That team, that team, if they can click, but Italy are dogged, defending, and good team as well. But they mustn't had a good 12 months to be in the qualifiers. So after winning the Euros and going to the next competition, you don't even qualify. You're going through the qualifying stage. Yeah, that's not good. So we'll see what happens, but it'll be a good game. I'd fancy Portugal there.
Interesting. I think. Look, I know we all expect Italy to beat North Macedonia, but you can't write them off completely simply because they've got them.
I'm going to write them off.
Interesting. But then you just said Italy have had a bad 12 months.
No, yeah, but North Macedonia.
Yeah, but they've got to the playoffs, so they've obviously won a couple of games, haven't they?
Right.
I don't think
do you want to bet on me then?
No, I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't put my house on it.
It's just
who's in North Macedonia? Can you name any of their squad? I'm sure they've got a couple of Premier League players in there. I'm going to have a quick look now because they must have. Someone will tell us in the chat. There's always people who know these things. North Macedonia Premier League players. There's got to be. I bet you there's a couple of. There's one or two decent European players there.
I don't. Donna. North Macedonia. Let me just address this to Donna. North Macedonia have never been in the World Cup. Guarantee you that.
I don't know. I have to check that. I don't think they have they? So they got Alotsky, who plays for Leeds. You've got I think. Yeah, they actually have got
justify it now. I'll try and look for players.
No, I was just seeing if they had like a standout player.
You fancy them? Let's have a bet.
No, I don't fancy them. I just saying that you can't completely write them off in a one-off game. Same as you can't.
I'm writing them off. Against Italy.
Well, you would have thought Middlesbrough would have not beat Man United in the FA Cup.
No, yeah, but this is a must-win game. No, they've gone in there expecting to win. Not probably obviously concentrated like they should be, but in a playoff game, you're tuned in. If you don't win this, you're out.
Yeah,
I know it's the same thing in the FA Cup, but it's obviously just gone in with a poor attitude. You shouldn't be getting beat off Middlesbrough at home. Yes, it went to penalties, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but then again, they played with Tottenham and beat Tottenham, so they're on a good run. That can happen in the FA Cup, not in the Euros. So we see this every year in the FA Cup. We don't see it every 2 years.
Yeah. I think it's fair. That's fair. Donna's clarified. She says she meant in the Euros they do well, and obviously they're in the playoffs, so they must always be in and around there. But I do kind of see what Donna's saying and what I was saying as well. But ultimately,
well, you and Donna have a bet with me then.
Yeah. I just think
because you're talking them up here. You're talking them up. You're talking them up and expect you to back them.
Italy should win
a good game, but
Italy should win, shouldn't they? Is what I'm saying. They should win. Yeah. They should win every game they play in 100. But there's always
there's not many games though. I'm confident Italy will win that game.
Yeah, I think they probably will.
Now watch North Macedonia go and win it. Just
3-0. So we mentioned Middlesbrough there, mate. I've got to talk about Chelsea and Middlesbrough. It's been a bit of a farce, to be honest. So obviously, it's at Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough have sold 30,000 tickets. I think they've put more on sale as well now. And when Chelsea found out that they were not going to be able to sell any tickets because of the sanctions, they applied to the FA to play the game behind closed doors. To say Middlesbrough were not impressed, and their owner, Steve Gibson, gave a quality reply, I think was an understatement. But in terms of, do you understand why Chelsea would have applied for that? And do you also understand why Steve Gibson was basically mocking them openly?
could understand both. I mean, I can understand. No, I don't understand why Chelsea would do that.
Just looks stupid, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just why? Why do Middlesbrough have to suffer and lose a load of money because of their issues? It's nothing to do with them. You know, it's their sanction. Why should it be passed on to Middlesbrough? No, it's just pathetic. Who come up with that? That's what I want to know. Who come up with that one?
Yeah, whose idea was it? That'd be fascinating to find out, actually, wouldn't it? Like who in that
who
Chelsea
come up with that one
setup thought that was a good idea?
It's just like, what? Who do you think you are?
Yeah, but it is a bit of that, isn't it? It's like the big I am.
It's just like, yeah, we're Chelsea. We're not getting tickets, so why should you? What? It's like, what are you, 7?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when it happened, and I'm sure I think it was Rob said somewhere yesterday that Chelsea backed down then after that as well. Like after a sort of kind of openly gave him a bit of a spanking, they just sort of said, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it then." And your analogy of a 7-year-old child, that's almost like exactly what it is. It's like, oh well, if we can't have tickets, neither can you. And then when they said, "Well, no, that's not how it works," they went, "Oh, fine." And just kind of stomped off around the corner.
Let's just try it. Let's throw it out there.
Yeah, it's so Craig has another view of it. He says Chelsea only did it to try and force the government to allow them to sell tickets. So they kind of like tried to back him into a corner almost. But I mean, it doesn't help. Like in terms of how other football fans and other people view Chelsea fans from the outside, it doesn't help when you see him in Lille last night fighting with the police while chanting Roman Abramovich's name. You're just like, yeah, whatever. Just leave you to it. I hope you enjoyed your run.
But no, go on with Chelsea. I'm not going to.
No, you've given them a bit of a pasting over the last couple of weeks, haven't you? So. They're having a bad week, mate. So they're
having a bad week, but they're still in the quarterfinals of the cup and they're still third in the league. Boo, boo, hoo.
I know. Yeah. I thought they played on the. Do you know? Credit where it's due. Since all this kind of the sanctions and everything which has happened, which is obviously putting the club at risk to a certain degree, depending on how it goes in the summer after the season's over. The players on the pitch and the manager are doing a tremendous job to keep going and keep winning football matches. Yes, they don't look as good as perhaps they did, 6 weeks ago, but they're still winning football matches when it counts. And I think they deserve credit for that, as to be able to keep their heads on and go and win a big European game. We're going to talk about United in a bit. They weren't able to do that. So it's not as easy as just turning up and winning a football match. You have, these things do play in. And I think Chelsea as a club, or the squad and the coaching staff, deserve credit for being able to keep doing that, even if, there's some other aspects of it which I don't have so much respect for. But moving on, we got Liverpool, mate, turning up the pressure on Man City. Man City dropped a couple of points the other day. Liverpool keep churning out these victories, even when they're not playing well.
Palace. Skin. Bogey
Palace
team.
been doing well, mate, this year.
Vieira. It was a good game last night. I thought Arsenal were very unlucky. When you're on top against sides like that, you have to score. They're going to, with the firepower they've got on the pitch and the firepower they've got on the bench. So,
did you? Sorry, mate, to interrupt. Did you hear that this Arsenal supporter on TalkSport today? The clip's been doing the rounds. So it was after the game, and the host has gone to this person who's phoned up. So how do you feel about the game? Bear in mind, Arsenal have just lost. And he said, I'm ecstatic. Like, I'm paraphrasing a bit. He's like really buzzing. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm great. And he said, well, you just lost the football match. And he said, yeah, but we outplayed Liverpool for 45 minutes. And I was just like, how much have your standards like dropped over the years that you're like, because he wasn't just, look, we outplayed him for 45. We just didn't have enough quality, blah, blah, blah. He was like buzzing as if he'd won a big game or something. It was weird. Like, however, I do want to say, mate, and I want to hold my hands up a little bit. At the start of the season, I was really questioning the Arteta appointment when they were like down the bottom of the league and they just couldn't get a win from anywhere. And there was a few boys in the chat who were kind of sticking up for him. And I was just like, he just looks like he's a bit lost. And you know what? He's shown a real backbone. He's got rid of the bad eggs. And as soon as he's got rid of those bad eggs, you look at the turnaround in that playing squad. They all look happy. They're playing good football. They're right up back in the top 4 sort of race, if you want to call it that. They just generally look a different football club. And I think that goes to show you what can happen if you get rid of the toxic people from the changing room.
It's getting rid of the toxic people, but it's giving a coach and manager confidence that, you know, he's going to be managing. He's not going to go anywhere. Give him time. And now you can see that. It's probably disappointing because if you have a fire in a Bangyang, you might win that game. You never know. But no, there was impressive last night. Martinelli looked good. Lacazette, I've always liked him. You know, Tierney's coming on leaps and bounds now. Centre half pairing's decent. I like that Ben White. I'm not a fan of the keeper.
Who's the holding midfielder?
It's Zanuck.
Not Xhaka, the other one.
Oh yeah, Partey. Partey's decent.
Quite like him.
Yeah, Partey's decent. You know, Xhaka's he had an off day last night, but he's decent. Martinelli, like I say, looked good. They just for 55 minutes, they just blew out of steam. Like I say, when you're on top of teams like that, you have to score because they're going to come on strong late on, especially with the firepower they got on. When you bring on Firmino and Salah, and they're lively for like 30 minutes, and you've been running about for 60 minutes, and them two come on. Yeah, it's not easy. So you have to score when you're on top. Same with United against Atletico Madrid. When they're on top, they have to score, and they didn't. So you have to against these good sides.
Do you know who's the guy that Liverpool signed in January? I've forgotten his name.
Diaz.
He looks like he's going to be something
very
really special.
Very good, yeah. Well, now they can leave Salah out and Firmino out, and then they've got Mane, Jota, and Mane, Jota, and who was the other one?
Firmino.
Diaz. So and then you can rest two of them. You can do that now all the time. So they're looking strong because City haven't got that.
No, and what happens as well?
I'm pretty sure if he's got Firmino and Salah on the bench, he's bringing them on. Against Palace, but he didn't bring anyone on. He's got Sterling on the bench. He's got a number of players on the bench, but he hasn't got any forwards that'll get him goals. He thinks he'll get him goals, and that's why he kept it the same. But Klopp doesn't have that problem. If 3 of them aren't working, right, let's throw these 2 on, see how it works. And it usually works. Happened in '99 when United had 4 strikers. Cole and York ain't working. Sheringham and Solskjaer, they'll do it, and it works.
Do you think Man City hold on and win the league, or do you think Liverpool are going to come?
I did last week, but no, thinking about it now, it's going to go down to the wire, but I still fancy City. I still do fancy City. I think Palace was a bogey side. They had a bit of luck as well. City should really score a couple of goals. So, but I still fancy City.
A couple of comments here now from Rob. He says, Arsenal will win the league before United do again. And then he followed that up
I'll bet that doesn't happen.
He followed it up with, I think Newcastle will probably win the league before United do.
No. Newcastle will win the league before Arsenal will. Yeah. Arsenal don't spend any money. There's no chance. They're not big enough spenders anymore. You've got to compete with City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and United, and now Newcastle in the fray. They've got no chance unless someone starts paying money, and that's not going to happen at Chelsea. They're all playing young kids. Pepe, the 72 million they paid big money for, and he's not worked out, so that doesn't bode well. I don't see Newcastle winning it before Arsenal.
Leslie makes a good point. Liverpool at home to Man City is still to come as well. I think if Liverpool was to see off Man City like 3-0, something like that, like quite a convincing victory, that could be like a turning point.
There's going to be some game that way in April.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one, mate.
Because they could probably play. They could possibly play each other 3 times in like a week. Because that's around about the semi-finals. Because they could draw each other in the semi-finals.
Interesting.
That'd be good, wouldn't it? 2 games
yeah.
of them. But then they won't probably. They could even face in the final. But usually, probably, it could work out that way. We've seen English clubs in the final before.
Yeah,
especially when they're strong as well, and especially when they're very strong. And at the minute, City and Liverpool, they're probably the top side in Europe, both of them.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're the best 2 football clubs best football teams in Europe.
You always got Bayern Munich, a one-off game. Yeah, anything could happen.
Of course,
Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, but over 2 games, no.
Yeah, I think I look at Liverpool and they've just got that depth at the moment, which just looks like
even Chelsea as well. You can throw Chelsea in the mix. They're experienced now. They've won the Champions League, so they know what it's all about. Now they're into the next round. They went 1-0 down last night and showed some balls and come back and end up winning 2-1 to get me 5 points in my Super 6. Let's throw that in there.
If Chelsea can somehow win the Champions League again this year, could be. I don't think you can quite put into words how massive that would be for them. It would be huge because there's no way. Because you don't know what's going to happen with these sanctions in the summer. They've given them this special dispensation till the end to finish this season, but they've given no guarantees.
The only way Chelsea win it is if they don't play an English team to the final. Because if they play Liverpool or City over 2 legs, they've got no chance.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's going to be interesting, mate. I as much as it pains me to say, I got a feeling Liverpool are going to win the league. I think the cups, they can go. It comes down to a lot of one-off games. Got a South Wales derby coming up. I'm doing a South Wales derby special soon as well. So
when's that?
Looking forward to that. I think it's 2 weeks. It's on a Saturday, 3 o'clock.
Are you doing a watch along for that?
Time. Yeah, I probably will, mate. Yeah, I think so. Just because it's never at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, ever.
Okay, yeah.
So it's the first time in, I think it's something ridiculous, like 20 years or something stupid, since they've done it at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Probably be the last as well. 3 p.m. Saturday, 2nd of April.
Where's it at? Cardiff?
Yeah, I think so. It's like Cardiff. I'm trying to think.
There'd be absolute carnage. Carnage.
Yeah, I can't. I thought it was a mistake, mate. I honestly thought it was a mistake when they said it's at 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Why have they done that? It's usually 12.
Well, it's normally 12 o'clock, and it's a bubble trip, and it's it's all sorts of I don't know what they're doing, but
rugby's not on as well, is it? Oh, they won't play the rugby in the same way.
No, they never. Normally they'd move one of them to the Friday or the Sunday they never would play them on the same day. They learned their lesson from years ago from that. Donna says, "Do you want me to report live from the ground for you?" Donna, if you can get Wi-Fi in the Cardiff City Stadium at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, then crack on. Because I think your chances of getting an internet signal from the stadium in the middle of a Saturday afternoon are slim to none.
You get a phone call. Get the phone call.
Yeah, you could do phone calls, I suppose.
You have to get my roadcaster. We have to get my roadcaster going, and we can play it through that.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Get the phone calls going through there. We'll have a look at some of the fixtures of the weekend a bit later. But I'm going to let you get your. Do you want to do your positive about United Saturday, or do you want to do your negative about United yesterday first? Which one would you like to do first?
I'm not bothered. Which one? I'm not bothered.
All right, I would like to talk about Saturday because I'm sick and tired, in a funny way, of people telling me that Ronaldo's finished and he's 37 and he's a problem for United. Well, if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have beaten Spurs on Saturday. And he looked about as motivated as a footballer can look on Saturday. He obviously have to be dropped or rested or whatever you want to say. He was chasing down things. He scored a worldie in the first sort of 10 minutes or something as well, which helps. But he looked like someone with a point to prove, mate, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I don't know why.
No. Point to the manager, maybe.
Yeah, possibly, but seen it before. If we didn't have United in Ronaldo in the side, we'd be mid-table. So I don't know what people are on about. It's just a non-start for me. I'm sick of going over it now.
Oh,
how can the world's greatest goal scorer? I don't care how old he is. Imagine if he was okay. Imagine if he scored 2 goals, like some other player has only scored 2 goals. It'd be absolute carnage. You'd be getting abused. But he scored 19 goals and he's still getting stick. Like the other guy, Messi, has scored 2 in a pub league. So, yeah.
Do you think, though?
It's Manchester United, it's Ronaldo. They're not having a good time. But without him, God knows where he'd be. God knows.
Relegation zone, mate.
Yeah.
Fighting relegation. I always feel sorry for him because there's so many in there. We mentioned earlier with Arteta, the best thing he did was get rid of those toxic players within the dressing room. I think United need to get rid of 3, 4, 5 players. I do, to just get them out of the dressing room. I don't think it'll happen, which is going to be massive problems.
It will, because look at Martial will probably go.
But he's already gone, hasn't he? He's not there now.
Well, he's on loan. Pogba's going. Pogba's going. Cavani's going. Who knows what happens to Ronaldo? Because if we don't win the Champions League, why would he stay here?
Well, he's finishing the season trophyless, mate, and he's only got maybe 1 or 2 seasons left.
Yeah, but the World Cup's coming, and so. Who else? Maguire. I've been a bit harsh on Maguire, but he's had a bad year. He's had a bad year.
I don't think he.
It doesn't bode. Yeah, if it was me, I'd get rid of him. But I've been. But it doesn't bode well. I can't remember in the 5 or 10 minutes to go if Alex Ferguson would bring his captain off. Would he bring Eric Cantona off? Would he bring Steve Bruce off? Well, no. Because he always used to get you a goal. Would he bring Eric Cantona off? No. Would he bring Brian Robson off? No. Would he bring Roy Keane off? No. Would he bring Rio Ferdinand off? No. Would he bring Gary Neville off? No. Would he bring Ryan off? No. So it doesn't bode well, that. 10 minutes to go, you want a goal, and your captain's coming off.
Yeah. Bizarre.
But,
here's my thing.
He's been found out big time this year because his pace and, you get speedy people around him. He struggles, especially if you're playing that high line. So, certain players can get away with it because they read the game really, really well. John Terry was a master at it. Wasn't the quickest. Wasn't slow, wasn't the quickest, but he read the game so well. Yeah. Matic is going to go. Mata's going to go. So it's going to be Lingard's going to go. So there's 7 players that I've named. They'll be gone.
How many of them are?
Then you've probably got 2 others that probably might go.
Problem.
Pardon?
How many of them do you think are a problem in the dressing room? Just could be.
It's not that they're a problem. It's just that they're not performing and not obviously gelling as a team. So you just have to reset, rip it up, and just start again. And 7 or 8 players leaving the club. That means you've got. What do you do? Do you replace them, or do you do it slowly and bring in 2 or 3 real top notch? And you've got to do it gradually. You can't do it all at once. It's impossible, especially the gap that Liverpool and City, the bar are at now. So you've got to look at a 5-10-year plan. Yes, I know it's Man United. Yes, you probably do better than that, but you've got to look long term instead of short term, because these short term fixes, they aren't working and just buying players because of the names. You've got to have a structure. Midfield, that has to be the main priority, because you have to keep the football. You have to have someone who plays football and keeps the football. And at the minute, they haven't really got that. Fred's been playing there. In the last 2 games, he's played further up, and he's probably his best 2 games he's played. So I'd keep him because he could still get about the pitch. and he still showed me something. In how much he's been slagged off, he's shown me something in the last two games that I'd keep him about. McTominay, I'd keep him. Varane, I'd keep him. Centre halves, who's going to go out of them? Bailly, Jones, Lindelof, Maguire. Varane's going to stay. Does Shaw go? Does Wan-Bissaka go? He's not good enough. So I've just named 10 players there.
So here's my thing about I see a few people in the chat saying Rashford should go, and here's my thing about Maguire and Rashford. So you said you think you've been too harsh on Maguire. I disagree, because Maguire and Rashford, they deserve to be criticised for their performances and for their attitude. What they don't deserve is abuse and name calling and all this sort of stuff, which we don't do, haven't done, never do. But they do obviously get on social media, blah, 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 because people think because they're having a bad game or a bad run, that means that they can just say anything they want to them. And obviously this week there's a video going around of some United fans shouting abuse at Rashford, and he gives them the finger. And then they're all fucking moaning about it. And it's all people on social media just criticising him for, for being disrespectful and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, it's a 23-year-old kid. Of course, he's in the public eye and he's got to have a thick skin and all that crap. However, he doesn't have to stand there and have a group of blokes shout abuse at him and just take it. He can tell him to piss off. He's allowed to do that. And I just think it just makes me laugh. And it's notorious, isn't it, for sports fans generally, but football fans particularly. They will love to give players abuse, but as soon as a player gives something back, they don't like it.
Yeah, well, this is kind of the same thing, what I put on my Instagram. Albert Einstein once wrote on a chalkboard, 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18, 9 times 3 is 27, 9 times 4 is 36, 9 times 5 is 45, and so on. To the end, 9 times 10 is 91. Suddenly, chaos erupted in the classroom because Einstein made a mistake. Obviously, the correct answer is 9 times 10 isn't 91, and his students ridiculed him. Einstein waited for everyone to be silent and said, despite the fact that I analysed 9 problems correctly, no one congratulated me. But when I made one mistake, everyone started laughing. This was noticed his slightest mistake. This will notice his slightest mistake. So don't let criticism destroy you. And it just goes on. But it's the same thing. You get abused, you ignore it. One time you snap back. And that's what you get remembered for. And everyone makes a big thing about it. It's just the part and parcel. He's a human being. Good on you for chatting back. But you might even get it a bit more now because that's what people want. So he knows that. He slipped. He's not happy. He's just come out of a football match, been beat 1-0. He's not happy. Not played a brilliant game. Give the ball away every time he got it. But he's human. He's a young kid, and he snapped. It wasn't a bad thing. Yeah. Stuck his finger up. David Beckham did that on the football pitch to 5,000 people. Get over it. And
it's frustration as well, isn't it? He's frustrated because he knows he's
normal.
Not playing well.
It's normal. It's just he slipped. He's such a nice lad. Never done it before. He slipped.
It's weird, isn't it? How football fans they're so happy to abuse people, but as soon as a player gives it back a little bit, they're like, "Oh my god!"
I always it's always been like that. Old Trafford. You come out of there at the end, and there's 5,000 people there just waiting an hour after the game, and you come out, and it's changed now. When you back in the day, the drivers would bring the car in, so they'd just come out the lounge and just get in the car and drive off. But now they park over the side from where the players come in. So they've got to come through a barriered bit and then drive and walk up to where the car park is, which is about 100 meters. But yeah, so there's 5,000 people there, all waiting an hour after the game, screaming, shouting. And obviously if the game's not going on, they're getting abused. So yeah.
I'm going to touch on a question from Boro fan in a sec. I just wanted to very quickly ask you about the the Pogba thing. Obviously, Pogba had to rush off after the game finished because his house had been broken into. Him and his wife were at the game. And in the final couple of minutes of the game, their house was broken into where their kids were sleeping. And I would assume like a nanny or a relative or whatever was there. And he had to rush off from the game, not knowing if his kids were safe and stuff like that. Like, this has happened a few times in recent years, haven't it? With footballers being targeted. But it does add like an almost an even bigger kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like that thought of driving home, not knowing if your kids are safe. That's every father, every parent's worst nightmare, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And, let me think about it. Where does he live? He lives in Oldley Edge, and he's got to go from Old Trafford to Oldley Edge. So it's a good 30, 40 minutes. So it's a long way, to be like...
Let your mind race.
Yeah, so it's a good 30 minutes, especially after the game as well, maybe a little bit of traffic. So good 30, 40 minutes. So, yeah, it wouldn't have been a nice drive home. But, yeah, it is happening a lot more. And, it's just, these people putting stuff on Instagram and showing that they've got loads of money and stuff like that. And then obviously someone gets onto where they live. It's a nice areas where they live, but on the outskirts surrounded, there's a lot of there's not places that are not doing so well. So like Wivenshaw, Hume, Moss Side, there's lots of places surrounding it, or just like 5-10 minutes away from it. So yeah, it's a shame, but it is happening a lot, and people, they're on a lot of money, 200, 300 grand a week, pay 2 security guards 50 grand, 25 grand a year each, just to, it's nothing.
The club
nothing, it's nothing to him. I know they shouldn't have to, but what's the price of the safety of your family? Yeah, when they see 2 security guards on your door at night from 6 o'clock till 6 o'clock in the morning, they're not gonna do it. The people say, "Oh, you shouldn't have to." I know you shouldn't have to, but it's happening a lot more. And I know if I was on 300 grand a week, 25 grand a year for 2 people is nothing for me. Nothing to know that I've got safety at home and I'm going to play football.
Especially when
so maybe some of them should look into that now, because it is happening a lot more. And
especially when those footballers, they know they're going to be away, so their wives and their kids are going to be in those houses on their own.
They're not in any danger because they're playing football. The robbers know that, so that's why they do it. But some not everyone takes the kids and wives to the game, especially if it's a night game, which it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a no-brainer to me. Just an absolute no-brainer. 2 people, security guards. I know he because I know what someone is personally. I know his driver personally. He was a goalkeeper, a big guy. He was a goalkeeper for me when I was at Salford. So and he drives for him. So I know him. I know and he knows security guards. So but obviously he's not going to be there long enough because he's going to obviously be leaving. But yeah, the players need to look into it because, like I say, 25, 50 grand a year to him for safety, knowing the kids are safe.
It's nothing, is it, when you're on that much money? Nothing. I'm surprised they haven't done it. And Craig says he says you think with so many of those players living that close together that they're surprised that they don't sort something out between them. You shouldn't have to, by the way.
But they do. They have a car that probably
like navigates the streets,
surveys the area. Yeah, but it's just one car, and it's
it can't be in all the places.
Half a mile till flipping. They're not like living next to each other. They're big houses, and they're all over the place. And it's all the edge and Hale, and it's all countryside. So country tracks and no little lights, and so yeah, it's not easy. So yeah, it's a no-brainer for me. Absolute no-brainer.
So Burrafan asked the question a while ago. He said, "What are your thoughts on knocking down the Theatre of Dreams to build a new stadium, Rod?" Because there's been criticism of Old Trafford and the state in. I've seen recently, like people saying there's parts of it which are kind of out of date and falling.
Yeah, well, the South Stand is, all of it's new or more or less new. Like from the Stretford end, it's probably 25 years old. The North stand's probably the Alex Ferguson stand. It's probably 10, 15 years old, probably longer, a little bit longer. And the K stand the same. It's the South stand where the tunnel is, where the players sit. It's just old, and it's obviously going over a rail track as well. So that's the problem, because it's right next to the railway track. But if they're going to rebuild, they have to knock it down and build further away from the railway track. So that creates its problem in its own, because then you've not got ground. But do they build it first and then keep that one? And then I don't know. Build it first, and then once it's built, you obviously knock that one down. Use that as car park space.
Could you see the Glazers?
There's enough car parking space, enough areas around the surrounding ground, because it's all car parks around it.
Yeah,
for the game. So
there's enough area. There's enough land, isn't there? An area.
Oh yeah,
around the ground
there's enough land. But what do they do?
Kind
Do
of
they knock it down? Mind you, with things that they can do these days, but it's tricky, because, like I say, it's right next and it goes over the railway track, and that railway track is the one that goes to Manchester Airport from town, and it's the Metrolink as well.
I mean, to me, mate, I don't see that the Glazers are not going to put that money in to build a new stadium anyway.
No, well, you're talking £1 billion, aren't you?
Yeah, they're not. They won't pay. They wouldn't pay the money for.
No, you'd have to sell it, and someone else would come in and do it. But you're getting you get 75,000 now. They're saying a 90,000 seater stadium. It's only extra 15,000. Well, say 15,000 a game, 15.88. Still, that's a lot of money, but. So these days, it's not really, is it? Is it worth it in the end? Or is it better just, trying to figure out how to sort that South stand out?
Yeah, it's weird. I wanted to ask you very quickly, mate, as well, about the England squad. So Rashford, Sancho, and Kyle Walker have all been left out. There's a few new names in there.
Sancho's been left out.
Sancho, Rashford, and Kyle Walker left out.
Let me guess, right?
Luke Shaw's
Sancho's in. Left out, but Grealish is in. Grealish in.
Yep.
Because he's been terrible.
Yeah.
And Sancho's been really good. Rashford, I can understand.
Sancho, I'm surprised Sancho didn't get in.
Yeah.
I got to be honest.
He's
been pretty good.
Yeah. Don't understand it.
So the strikers, the people who have got in front of Sancho, Tammy Abraham, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, Saka, Emile Smith-Rowe, and Raheem Sterling. I don't
disagree with any of them, but Sterling's not been playing. Sterling's not been playing, but that's Gareth Southgate's man, so he's going to pick him whatever happens. And Grealish has been terrible, terrible. £100 million. Imagine he played for United. £100 million, 2 or 3 goals. Been crap.
Oh, what was the bet you had with one of the viewers about Harry Kane? Because he scored a couple of goals lately, and I was thinking the other day, I can't remember what the bet was and who it was with. It was one of the first shows we did of the season. You had a bet that he would score 2 goals, or not 2 goals, a certain amount of goals in the season, and if you were right, or if he was right, sorry, you were going to send him.
What did I say? He will score.
No, you said he won't score. I can't remember what it was. I'd have to go back and have a look. But I don't know how many goals he scored this season. I think you said under 20 goals this season. And whoever it was said that he would. But I'd have to go back and check it, to be honest, unless they're in the chat now. And then they can obviously claim it. But I don't know how many goals he scored this season. I don't think he scored anywhere near that that mark. 12 goals he's got this year so far. So, I mean, it's not very good for him, is it? But I mean, it's not terrible.
No. So who did you have the bet with?
I don't know. I'll have to look back and see who it was. Someone might remember. Will Meliush has got a counterpoint on Sancho. He says Sancho has been average at best this season. He's done okay the last few weeks, but too little, too late for this England squad. I disagree with that slightly.
What about Grealish?
Yeah, Grealish has been average.
You go on form. Yes, he wasn't great a month ago, but he's in form now.
I think Sancho's been decent since probably Christmas. I think he's got gradually
in the last
better.
6 weeks, he's a different player. He's obviously fit. He's
lost a couple of pounds.
Yeah, he's been totally different player. Because I was like, who is this kid? He's crap. But no, in the last 6 weeks, I've been really impressed.
Been one of the best players
because he's fit and he's ready to go. He's come back in pre-season. He wasn't fit. It took him a bit to get going, but I'm having him now. He looks decent, quick on his feet.
But then we said
goals.
Players, the managers have got their favourites, haven't they? Like, and Southgate has got his favourites. He likes Raheem Sterling. He likes Luke Shaw. He likes John Stones. He likes Henderson. And
Maguire
I think all of those,
Maguire in there.
Yeah, Maguire, Luke Shaw, and John Stones all in.
Yeah, so
Grealish has been garbage.
Maguire's been terrible. Sterling's not even played.
Sterling hasn't played. Grealish has been terrible. Maguire's been terrible. Luke Shaw's been terrible. You got Ben White, I think, has had a good season. Trent Alexander-Arnold's had a good season. Connor Cody's had a good season. And then you've got
Jordan Henderson, is he there?
Yeah. Ward-Prowse, Declan Rice, Mason Mount, all had good seasons. Bellingham, good season. How's Tammy Abraham doing in...
I think he's doing all right. I think he's getting a few goals for him, but... Yeah, who else have they got? They've usually have a couple of youngsters there. It's either him or Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he's not doing so well at the minute.
Calvert-Lewin's not in the side, so they got Emile Smith-Rowe.
But for forwards, they need forwards, don't they? There's only Harry Kane. Who else?
Tammy Abraham, Harry Kane, Emile Smith-Rowe would be the three I would look at, and then you got like Saka, Sterling. Grealish, Foden. It's a weird one. But then they have picked a couple of younger players, like they've picked Mark. I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. Mark Gui. Don't know. Plays for Palace.
What's his name?
21-year-old defender for Palace, and he probably deserves his space. But he's been called up for those friendlies, and he was born in Ivory Coast. So I would say part of that is probably they want to get him. They want to get him capped, I would imagine, so that he can't change allegiance like Wilfred Zaha did. But yeah, it's only friendlies anyway for the England squad. I was just surprised, not so much surprised. I wasn't necessarily shocked that they left out Rashford and the others. I was more shocked that they left in Grealish, Maguire, and Luke Shaw. I just thought that was quite weird, but is what it is. Is what it is. Rangers, mate, 3-0 in the first leg against Red Star Belgrade. That is a cracking... sorry, I got that completely wrong. So basically, because Rangers won 3-0 in the first leg, they won 4-2 on aggregate because of the second leg, which means the Rangers are through to the semi-finals of the Europa League. Do you think there's any way they win that?
You never know.
They seem to keep going and going.
Yeah, there's some decent size at the end, though, isn't there? So
they go into the last 8 draws, so they're into the quarterfinals. I'm just looking who's left in. Barcelona in there.
That's what I mean. Some big sides still left in there. So
although Barcelona are not through, they're 2-1 up against Gala. Oh yeah, they are. West Ham game's still going on. They're Sevilla 1-0 up on aggregate.
Yes, see Sevilla as well.
Leverkusen.
Yes, there's some decent sides in there, but they're doing well. So they're punching above the weight at the minute. So,
but then Monaco have just gone out to Sporting Braga. So, just because you're in there, you don't have a divine right to win it.
Right, it can happen.
So, I'm interested in that. I've got to talk last thing on United before we move on to the Championship to finish us off. Thomas Tuchel rumours picking up pace, mate. I brought it up to you last week. You said no chance. There's more and more people talking about it because of his relationship with Ralph Rangnick. And Chelsea's obviously going through what they're going through. You said last week you wouldn't even consider it because it's hypothetical and you don't think there's any chance. As it's gathered a little bit more pace, would you have him if he was offered? Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel. because of his relationship. Basically, because of his relationship to Ralph Rangnick,
I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it.
I'm not even sure he's a good fit.
It could possibly happen. I'd take him. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't see it because what he seems to really, really love Chelsea and really be happy there. So that's why I don't see it.
I guess it comes down to what happens with
today
Chelsea,
that someone's put a bid in. So I see it being sold by the end of the season, mate. This will be all done and dusted.
But I thought they can't because it's frozen. I didn't think they could sell because the assets are frozen. Aren't they?
Behind the scenes, they're trying to figure out, they can get it sold quickly, and they want this done and dusted quickly. Don't want it dragging on, do they?
Yeah, they got to sort it by the summer, haven't they? When this season's over,
there's a lot of people employed by Chelsea, and it's just in limbo at the minute, aren't they? So
yeah, because the thing is, if the FA and the government don't allow them to sell in the summer, there's a good chance that Chelsea won't play football next year because they've given this dispensation only till the end of the season.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening.
No, I don't think it
will. Like Chelsea, just don't see it
on paper.
Yeah, I don't see it. It'd be sold. I reckon it'd be sold by the end of the season. Before the end of the season, it'd be done.
Not many people have got as much money as
money talks. When the UK government are going to be given £1 billion to help Ukraine from that sale, they want it done quickly, mate. Trust me.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? Let's have a little look at the championship, mate, to finish off. Guys, if you've got any questions, please do send them in. Always happy to answer your questions on this, that, and the other by the end of the show. It's been another busy one, another productive one. Let's have a look. Championship football. Another tremendous result for Cardiff City, may I add. Another victory, especially after going 1-0 down versus Stoke. Steve Morrison doing a tremendous job. I don't know whatever he is drinking down there, he's giving it to those young players and they're doing a job for him. They want to play for him. And he's completely turned the season around. And to me, I still say that January window has changed the game for him completely. To go from where they were to where they are is remarkable. So we'll go on to Derby watch first. So we got Derby County, mate. A mixed week, not a great week for them. Peterborough lost to the Jacks, which is obviously beneficial to Derby. But then you had obviously Barnsley beat Bristol last week, which obviously is a bit of a blow to them. We've chopped and changed a little bit on Derby. We've kind of always said that we think they'll stay up, but it did look like they were having a tricky period. Where do you stand on it now? Do you think they're kind of in a good position to stay up, or do you think there's a bit more pressure on them now?
There's still a little bit more pressure on it, isn't there? But let me have a look. Derby, Barnsley had picked up a result, haven't they, as well? But there's still what? There's only 8 games left now, so there are 8 games left, and they're basically 2 wins behind. Reading have got a game in, and Barnsley have got a game in, but they've got to win them games. So still all to play for. They've got to win 2 games in a week, haven't they? They've got to win Saturday, Wednesday, and bring it within striking distance. And when they're in striking distance, you never know. Let me have a look at who they've got weekend. Derby have got Coventry at home, play early kickoff. Reading have got Blackburn.
Oof, that's a difficult one.
Barnes have got Sheffield United away.
2 difficult games. See, so what Derby need to do is obviously get their result.
Yes, if Derby win that one,
puts the pressure on the other 2, doesn't it?
Puts the pressure on the other 2, and then who've they got in the week? They've not got a game in the week. It's obviously been Saturday at the minute. So yeah, but it's going to go down to the wire, isn't it?
Yes. Oh yes, right down to the wire. Fulham lost a game of football, mate. Finally, they lost to West Brom. West Brom, who generally haven't got a great deal to play for, but at least like Fulham are human as they coast to the championship.
You say that they're only 6 points behind playoffs.
West Brom. Yeah, I mean, there's still a chance, isn't it? But I just think they're underachieving for what they are doing. Where they should be with the squad they've got.
You'd expect they probably half expected a new manager come in, the results change straight away, and it gives them a little stop. It's not happened, does it?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Fulham just look like they're coasting a bit now. They're 11 points clear.
Autopilot.
I like Bournemouth. If Bournemouth don't go up automatically, they deserve shooting. The fact that
I think they'll go
4
up,
games in hand or 3 games in hand.
No, we're talking about the top of the table now. They've got 3 games in hand, so the top of the table, they mostly win their games. So even if they win one and draw one, that'll put them 7 points in front of someone who's even remotely close to him, is Huddersfield from 63. So yeah, Bournemouth and Fulham are by far been the better sides. Big shout out to Scott Parker getting promoted with Fulham, then going on to Bournemouth and doing the same with a different team. That's not easy.
Tremendous amount of credit for that, mate. Yeah. I also think Luton. I really hope Luton make the playoff final. Their form this season has been unreal for a side who's got a pretty small squad, and a pretty small stadium, small squad.
Millwall are doing all right, okay as well. No one picked Millwall last night apart from me.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Picked Huddersfield. No, you didn't.
Did I? I changed my mind then because I picked Millwall at first.
But Huddersfield too well.
Must have gone back and changed it. Never change your predictions, see?
Yeah.
Damn it. I said a couple of weeks ago, Millwall could be the club to make a late run for it. Just felt like they were gathering a bit of steam.
So Millwall beat Huddersfield. Huddersfield are third, so that's brought them 57. So that brings them 6 points behind Huddersfield with a game in hand. So you could go down to. I would go down to probably West Brom. We've got a chance of getting the playoffs.
Say, if you go to West Brom, surely you've got to include Blackpool as well. They're only a point behind.
Yeah, you could even put Blackpool in there because they've got a game in hand as well. But that's that extra 52. That puts them 7 points. So it's just that extra point in it.
Yeah, it's so close, though, isn't it? The playoffs and the relegation is just so, as always in the Championship.
But you'd expect Huddersfield, Blackburn, and probably out of Luton and QPR, one of them is going to drop because even Forest had a good result again last night and they've picked up again.
They were on a good little run, weren't they?
So Forest, Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, all good sides in and around it. So it's going to go to the wire, isn't it?
I wanted to talk, as someone just mentioned in the chat, Will just mentioned in the chat, Harry Arter has gone on loan to, I think, Notts County till the end of the season, which is crazy to me. Like, obviously, he was with Cardiff, with Bournemouth, then he went to Forest, and apparently the main reasons he's gone away from Forest is he just wasn't getting anywhere near the matchday squad, which is quite a fall from grace because he was really good for Cardiff. Like 2 seasons ago or a season ago, he was very good, and then all of a sudden it's just kind of things have not gone well for him. I think he's picked up a few injuries. Look, he needs to play football, and if he's not going to get at Forest, then it makes sense. Go out to Notts County and just play some games to finish the season. Come back from the summer then nice and fit and sharp. But I mean, Forest could be in the Premier League if they get to the playoffs. So it's let's have a little. Leslie's just asked, Rod, do you think Middlesbrough will make the playoffs? So I'll tell you what, let's do a little prediction now as we stand. Which 4 teams do you think are going to be in the playoffs come the end of the season?
Huddersfield, Blackburn. I'm going to say Forest. I want Middlesbrough to go in, but I reckon Forest. Forest and Luton. I think QPR might drop out.
Yeah, I think Huddersfield, Blackburn, Luton, and then
it's either Forest or Middlesbrough, isn't it?
Forest, Middlesbrough, and possibly Millwall would be the 3 I'm looking at. I just think with Millwall,
Forest. Well, I only say Forest because Forest have got that extra game in hand. So if they win that extra game in hand, they'll go 61 points. They'll go 4th.
So yeah, It's hard.
Out of all them, Forest has got a game on them all. So, and some of them has got. So Forest have got 2 games on Blackburn. So I fancy Forest.
Rob Boyle just said, "Come on, are we not going to talk more about the South Wales derby?" So there's 2 things on that, Rob. One is there's nothing to play for in terms of both teams are not going down, and neither are going to make the playoffs. So we've got to talk about the other clubs first. And second of all, I'm doing a whole show on it, which is being done next week. So you'll get that instead, because it's difficult because obviously we have people watching from all different clubs and stuff, and they don't just want to talk about United, and they don't just want to talk about Cardiff, and we'll kind of answer the questions. But if you ask us a question specifically about the South Wales derby, we will answer that question. So that's what I can say. Someone asked a question. Where's the question gone? Oh, yeah. Craig Sullivan says, what do you think of Salford City this season? Thought they'd be pushing for promotion, but mid-table. So is that a bad season for them? It is for his bet. Bad for my bet as well.
Terrible season. Terrible. They should be getting promoted. The wage bill and the money that they're putting out, they should be getting promoted. It's a bad season, but it's probably they're due a little wake-up call, reset. It's just as easy just bowling these leagues over and winning leagues. It's not as easy as that, and then they know that anyway. But doesn't help changing manager after manager. Had 3 managers in a year and a half. So they'll just have to wait and see. But I see if they don't get a good start next year, if they don't change at the end of the year, they'll probably change it again. So it's just need to get this season out of the way and just go again next season, because I'm pretty sure that they would have been expecting to get promotion and nowhere near it.
Yeah, and I think because they've bolted through all the leagues in the non-league, they kind of just kept going and going, didn't they? And they were able to just spend money.
Yes, and then when they
swap the managers, bring in players, there was like a turnover of everything, wasn't there, all the time? But now they've hit that level where it's all professional clubs. It's all
not easy.
A lot of well-run
all right,
clubs.
you're throwing money about and you're bringing these players in. You've still got to gel them. You've seen it over and over again. We've seen it at United. You can't just bring in decent quality players. You have to have. It's all about a team. Each individual doing their job collectively for a team. So, and it's mid-table, but like I say, that they would have been expected to be up the top, and it's just. Not to answer the question, not good. 3 out of 10 for the season, which is unacceptable.
How different is how much bigger is their wage bill than, say, I don't know, Newport County and all the other clubs in that league too?
It's probably the top payers in the league, if not the top 3. I would expect. So with that, you'd expect them to be up there and thereabouts.
You got the top 3 of Forest Green, Northampton, and Newport County. Yeah, they're the top 3 at the moment. And Salford City.
I need to look at. Let me have a look at the clubs. So the clubs that think can be spending the big money. So Bradford, Mark Hughes, bringing Mark Hughes in.
Yeah. Oldham.
Leighton Orient had a few quid. I don't know what's happened to them. I'm pretty sure, looking at that league, Salford City would be the highest paid team.
That's what
in
I
that league.
When I looked at it. That's why I asked you. So
from to be 11th, it's not good.
So mate, if you look at League One just very quickly, and you look at some of the massive teams in there, like Sunderland and all that, like where would say if you put Salford City in there?
Well, no, they've got.
How would their wage bill compare to the League One sides, like the big ones? I mean,
well, it'd be round about mid, but then once they go in the league, they're going to put more in, aren't they? So it's going to go up.
Yeah.
So then you're not going to be anywhere near like Sunderland or Ipswich or Bolton or Charlton, or these get big crowds. Salford only getting 2,500. These are big. Even Doncaster, Fleetwood, they've got a few quid. So
Wimbledon,
Oxford United,
Ipswich,
nice part of the world. They'll have a few quid there.
Wickham,
probably Salford on the par of Wigan.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So it's a bad season for them, 100%.
Rotherham's in there as well. Rotherham United, they've these getting 10, 12,000 people. Salford 2,000, 2,500 tops. FC United get more.
Is that right? Yeah.
Some weeks FC United get more.
Last thing on Salford then. Rob says, what's their long-term aspirations with Salford?
Well, they move soon to the Salford Rugby Stadium. And that's another fucking issue that don't get me started on. Because
have they done that to get more fans in there, or have they done that to save money, or have they done
more fans? It's a 5,000 seat stadium. They're not filling it, and now they're moving now they're moving out of Salford to move to Trafford. It's right next to the Trafford Centre, Batten Bridge. As you go over Batten Bridge, you can see it. It's in Trafford. It's not Salford. It's miles away. It's a nightmare to get to, and it was just like. Yeah, it's miles bigger. Bigger. And it's a better ground because obviously they've had to build on Moor Lane, which Moor Lane was falling to pieces. It was 100 years old. And it just had one little shitty stand. So, and now they're obviously going to switch to the rugby guys who go to the football, and then the football guys will go to but the Sale Sharks play there as well. So I don't know how it's going to work with Sale Sharks and. I don't know. I think Sale Sharks are building their own ground. I'm not sure. But at the minute, Sale Sharks partner it with Salford Red Devils. Pardon?
Sounds like a bit of a shambles, all in all.
Yeah, the perfect area is where the old Salford Rugby League ground was, but that got knocked down about 10 years ago. It was right in the middle of Salford, in the Willows, Weast, right in the middle, the heart of Salford. Where it is now, it's like on the outskirts of Salford, near town, Prestwich, Jewish area, Heaton Park. It's out of the way. But it's still classed certainly in Salford, but it's right out of the way. It takes because Salford, people don't realise how big Salford is. Salford's a city, a city inside a city. So it's quite big, Salford. Swinton, Pendlebury, Eccles, Clifton. It's massive. So it's a big area, and this part where the ground is, it's out of the way. So, yeah, it's not in the middle of Salford, but the Perth when the Willows, where the Salford rugby ground, it was right in the heart of Salford. That would have been the perfect area, but obviously that's not going to happen now.
So I'm sure that hasn't gone down well with their Salford City fans, then I'd imagine.
10 years ago, I was manager there, so they was getting 150 people, 200 people. So, the new fans will follow them wherever they go. And I'm pretty sure the old fans will go because they're a loyal bunch, even though there's not many. They'll go wherever the team goes.
Yeah. It's a weird one, isn't it?
They changed the colours of the strip. They're moving the ground. It just all frustrates the black. And I used to hate the colour of the. We used to wear tangerine orange. I used to hate it. But over the years, you get used to it and you learn to love it. And then when you change it to red, it proper pissed me off.
Oh, mate, it's that it's giving me PTSD and flashbacks to when Cardiff decided they were going to do all that sort of shit. Whoa. Was not a happy bunny. Breaking news.
Called the Bluebirds, but we're going to go to red.
Yeah. Stupid. So there's people saying in the chat that at the Newcastle Everton game, which is going on now, some knobhead has attached himself to the goalposts, and there's about 20 stewards trying to remove them from it.
Look off.
Jesus Christ.
What are you doing that for?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to bring it up on Twitter or something to see what's going on. So it just looks like you can't really see him. They're getting the bolt cutters, so he's handcuffed himself to it.
The biggest set of bolt cutters I've ever seen has been brought onto the pitch.
Yeah. But if you look at him,
there's a surprise. Bolt croppers to hand in Liverpool.
So what's he got? He's got like a cable tie around his neck, by the looks of it.
The guy's a balloon. Watch it when I get home.
Yeah, this is bizarre. at least Amazon is showing it all instead of cutting away from it like Sky does and the BBC do. At least you know what's going on. Boro fan makes a phenomenal point. Sunderland get 30,000 fans every week.
Yeah, exactly. You just can't compete with that kind of stuff.
He's out apparently, and he's attacked. He's been taken off the posts.
Frog marched out.
Here's a question for you from Craig. I knew that I was going to stir up some feelings when I said that I was going to kind of not talk too much about the derby on tonight's show because I'm doing something special for it. But he says, Si, there's everything to play for as we cannot afford to lose. Here's the question. With all the loan players who are at Cardiff going back to their home clubs over this break, will they miss out on the derby buzz and preparation? I think they will to a certain degree, but also they'll be back in time. Like they're going to be in for training, aren't they? In the few days before the game, the week before the game, so they'll you will get it. I haven't looked at the fixtures, mate, this week, so I couldn't tell you. Cardiff Swansea is on the 2nd of April. I know that much. It's no, Cardiff haven't got a game this weekend, by the looks.
No.
I'd assume that's because of the Wales game on the Monday, isn't it?
Oh, they might have drawn against someone who's in the FA Cup on the weekend.
It's international break, isn't it? So it's because they've got Wales players in the Wales squad.
Okay.
So they no game. So yeah, look. Of course, there's everything to play for in a derby game. It's going to be fierce. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be all those things. And I didn't mean to kind of undersell it. I just meant that in terms of this show, we're trying to cover as much stuff as possible. If people ask questions about it, of course, we'll go to them and stuff. But I think they're back for the week before, aren't they, or the days before the derby. So they are still going to get that kind of, they're going to be in and around the club for the days coming into it. But yeah, you do miss out, I suppose. With an international break, there would be a lot of talk of the derby, wouldn't there, in the couple of weeks before it. And yeah, I kind of understand the logic in thinking that. Leslie says, tell Rhodri to look at the table again, because if Middlesbrough beat Blackburn, they will go 4th because they've got a game in hand.
But Forest have got 2 games. That means they'll go.
So what was it? Middlesbrough play Blackburn. If they win their game in hand, they go ahead of Blackburn. But like you say, if Forest win their games in hand, but
they've got 2 games in hand. Yeah.
If Forest and Middlesbrough win those games in hand, it suddenly becomes really interesting because Blackburn and they're all going to shut down a couple of places to allow Forest and Middlesbrough, but Middlesbrough and Forest will be in the top 4, so top 6, sorry. So it's going to be an interesting in that championship one. It's mad, like, because anyone in that league can beat anyone on their day. So it's like it's the hardest league to predict, and I just think you cannot write off any of those teams from West Brom.
It's going to go on the wire because they all beat each other, don't they? So
yeah,
and if they more consistent, the most consistent ones are Bournemouth and Fulham. You can see that, but
if the last day, so the last day of the season is on Saturday, 7th of May. If everything's going down to the wire, then we'll probably do a watch along like we did a couple of years ago. It was a midweek one then because of COVID, but I think we'll definitely have a look at doing a watch along for the championship last day of the season because it's thoroughly enjoyable as it all goes all sorts of the places. Leslie wants prediction for Middlesbrough game. Middlesbrough versus Chelsea. When do they play?
Saturday.
When did Middlesbrough play Chelsea?
Saturday.
Is that this week, is it?
It's FA Cup, isn't it?
Is it this week? I thought it was the week after. Right, okay.
It's this week.
Chelsea have withdrawn their FA Cup request. Funny stuff, that is. I think...
Yeah, this week, Middlesbrough, Saturday, 5:15.
Okay, then. Predictions. I'm going to go with 2-1.
So Middlesbrough and Forest are not playing, so they'll have more games in hand. So if the teams above them don't win,
they're going to have
that's
problems.
given 3 games in hand, 2 games then, yeah. So because Middlesbrough and Forest are both in the FA Cup, aren't they?
Yeah, you're right there. So there's going to be even more games in hand. So yeah, those teams in and around them, the Lutons, the Coventrys, the West Broms, the Blackburns, they've all got to win on Saturday. Yeah. So it's going to be so interesting how that develops.
Forest play Liverpool Sunday, yeah.
Oof, going to be beautiful. So I'm going to. I tell you what, we'll do. Should we do? We'll just do some FA Cup predictions, and let's have a look at the FA Cup to finish. Why not? But we'll start with Middlesbrough Chelsea, mate. What's your prediction for that? I'm going 2-1 to Middlesbrough. An upset.
No. 3-1. Chelsea.
Is it? Yeah. I just think Middlesbrough have beaten United. They've beaten Tottenham.
Yeah,
Chelsea
I think
have got issues.
And I think Thomas Tuchel will have that and say, look, if we're not on it, this is what's going to happen.
You'd think so.
Yeah. And I'll be there. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think Chelsea will come away comfortably winners.
Depending on what sort of side they play as well. If they rest too many players, that could also.
I don't see them resting any players.
You wouldn't think so. Palace versus Everton at Palace. I'm going for Palace 3-1.
Palace 2-0.
We had a question about Everton, which I'll get to finish now. Southampton versus Man City. Go 4-2 Man City.
I'm going to go Southampton 2-1.
There we go. And then finally, Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. I'm going to go with 2-2 in 90 minutes.
I think Liverpool go there with a weaker side and Forest will do them over. I think it'll be...
I do think Liverpool will play a very...
3-2. 3-2 Forest. There you go. 3-2 Forest.
Yeah, I'm going 2-2 in 90 minutes. Chelsea also travelled home as well from Champions League. It's only France, though, isn't it? So
Rangers got beat tonight.
Yeah, but they won on aggregate.
Oh, right, they got through those still, didn't they?
Because they won 3-0 in the first leg. Took them through. So someone asked a question. I think it was Craig. Said, do you think Everton will get relegated? I apologise if it wasn't you, Craig. Yeah. I think they're going down.
Yeah, I do as well. Have you seen the fixture? We've talked about this. The fixture list is a shocker.
It's insane.
Next 5 games, they've got United, Liverpool, Chelsea.
Where are they? 17th. Oh my God, they're only a point above the relegation zone now.
Next 5 or 6 games, they've got Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Leicester twice. They've got to play all the top sides in the next few games.
So who's their games in hand against? They've got 2 games in hand against Leeds, who are above them, and Watford, who's below them.
Yeah, but you have to win these games, don't you?
Yeah, of course. I just wondered who the actual games in hand were going to be against.
They're in the FA Cup. Is that going to distract them with the games behind and playing them? I said it last week. I don't see them surviving it. They've not got no experience in manager of being in this kind of situation as a player or as a manager. They haven't got the type of players that roll the sleeves up. Not what I'm seeing. You need to fight now every single game, to claw, to scrap, to run every yard and fight. And I don't see it.
They got a pretty young team as well. Looking at it, they got an experienced goalkeeper in bet. So, I'm looking at the 11 that they've got playing tonight against Newcastle. They got Begovic in goal. They got Michael Keane in defence. Those two are pretty experienced. Then you've got Holgate. He's played a lot of games, I suppose. Seamus Coleman. So they got a pretty experienced defence. But then you've got Iwobi, Damari Gray. They're not players that I would necessarily think are going to work their nuts off to keep you in the league. No disrespect to them. Very skillful footballers. I'm just not entirely sure that they're... Do you know what I mean? Those players who are going to bleed for you to make sure you stay up.
Looking at that side, you're totally right. Proper scrappers. Coleman, yes.
Keane, Holgate.
Keane, he's got a mistake in him. Gray, yes. Iwobi.
I really like Damari Gray. I think he's a phenomenal. I think he's going to go on and be a really good footballer.
Iwobi. got energy, but not great. Gordon, young and up and coming, good player. Richarlison, yes. But these don't going to roll the sleeves up and get stuck in. You know, Gray and Decore. I mean, Allen and Decore. Yes. So
tricky, mate. Today, I think they're going down, mate.
Then you've got on the bench, you've got Calvert-Lewin, Townsend. You know, what's happened to Rondon, Dele Alli? Where's Van der Beek gone? Yes, don't see it. Dele Alli, what has happened to him?
Has he played for Everton yet since he moved?
On the bench.
But has he come on at all?
Yeah, he comes on. Yeah, comes on
Didn't
for
do
a
anything,
jog
has he?
about.
Keep fit. Yeah, mate. I said that there was question marks over Lampard. I said it for a while, and people were just like buying into it a little bit, like quickly. This is a picture. This is stupid, man. What was he protesting? Does anyone know? This guy at the Everton game.
Looks like an Harry Potter type, doesn't he? So being a polar bears.
He's got cable tie around his neck.
Yeah, he's a nutter. Especially doing that in Liverpool. You're mad. Be getting stamps on now in the back by the place.
Well, it's funny enough. Do you know that picture you just showed? And there, all the stewards are around him as he's like tied to the post. He looks quite calm. They look like they want to rip his head off.
Yeah,
there's all crowded around him.
Don't
they? But Newcastle, I got it on with the sound off now, and Newcastle look like they're outplaying them. So
go and watch it on it when I get home.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, mate. Right, guys and girls, as always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you join us. Slightly longer show than normal, but that's all right. We don't mind that. Answer the questions, talked about as many things as possible. As always, it's been a pleasure, mate. Appreciate your time. And we'll be back next week for another episode. Tomorrow night, I got a show, exclusive show out with multi-award-winning music artist, rapper, and more, Merkage, and that's out at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. It's a really interesting chat about how he turned his life around through music, and just talking about all different things, life, fatherhood. It's just a really good chat, and I'd urge you to check that out. But that's out 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Danny Batten Fight Show is on Monday this week, not Sunday, because it's my son's birthday. So, guys, take care. See you soon. God bless.